Hi, beautiful people. Well, today is Friday. Friday. Today is Tuesday. It's a bit difficult because I am in Mexico at the moment. And of course, the whole life changed upside down. And from coming here from Athens, I really had to be on the internet for many hours to figure out the time here and there and how do I do my stuff and what is happening. Anyhow, I am glad I managed to do it in one way or another. Um, Today, I want to talk to you about life and how we handle life. Of course, it is the As Above, So Below debate program I am doing every week. And that is my latest subject on the matter of living and understanding life and ourselves around. It is an extraordinary issue, really, because we talk about life a lot and we teach about life and we learn about life. But I really, really think that the main point is always missing from everything what we handle and what we touch. And this main point, and that is actually very different from the above, because even though human beings are the blend of a soul that is immortal and the physical body that is not immortal, however, because of the physical body, obviously, we have a limited existence on Earth. And of course, the universe is a bit different. Of course, there are other planets, Earth-like planets also, 15 other ones actually, and other planets where souls live in, star gateways, and a lot of extraordinary things are out there in the universe, but that is something I don't want to talk about at this particular moment. So, you see, we know that our life is limited, so to speak, because one part of the life is limited. And with this, of course, without the physical body, we cannot live on Earth in any way whatsoever, mostly because we cannot digest the universal energy as a soul here. Not because we wouldn't be able to, but because what comes down to Earth, because of the magnetic layers, the universal energy doesn't really reach down here. And so when people talk about, I am a light eater, well, don't ever believe it, because I have yet to see somebody who would really be able to live on light and being in a physical body and being a human being. Yeah. So that's something. Because we cannot possibly, and that's why we have the physical body actually, otherwise we wouldn't really need that. And of course, because of the reproductive system, we need to reproduce the physical bodies for other souls to come down. And of course, the digestive system we need for digesting all the organic energies we have here on Earth and getting us the nourishment we need. So, first of all, and that is the most important, our lives here are pretty complex or easy. It depends on your viewpoint, of course. You know, some glasses are half empty and other ones are half full, so it really depends on how you look at things. But this basic understanding actually governs our views of looking at our lives and how to handle our lives, and a lot of the illnesses we have, especially the mental illnesses, come from this basic understanding. And of course, all kinds of attitude and how we are obsessed with money, and that comes from that this also. And that is why we really need to sort of look at this basic understanding. Now, what we have here is with life's stages, we actually have a plan for living. Yeah, we have an expectancy. I mean, a general life expectancy is about 80 years nowadays, or 70, 80 years, yeah, I would say. Of course, it is just a general idea. Obviously, it doesn't happen to everybody, and always there are different ideas, not just ideas, I mean, different events sort of shorten um, some human beings or earthlings' life. And of course, many earthlings are doing it themselves to actually get rid of it because they just cannot stand it whatsoever, or they just don't know what is going on. I mean, a lot of things are happening nowadays. So that is something, again, adding to the I wouldn't say the problem, because there is no problem ever anyway, but the whole situation here, because obviously the plans are giving us certain things we need to achieve during the lifetime what we have here. I mean, what we have as plans differ, of course, according to our mental and emotional intelligence. We might want to um, live up to the expectations of our ancestors, or just the social understanding of living, or religious understanding of living, and whatever it is. But it doesn't really uh, change the situation in any way. I mean, these are all kind of hiding away from responsibilities, because people would say, okay, but that is my religion, I do it what it is what is expected of me. And others say, okay, but the social understanding is that and that, and okay, my mother and father is pushing me to do this and that and whatever it is. You need to understand that it is your life, nobody else's. And your mother and father, even though they might be the most extraordinarily intelligent people, they cannot possibly, or they shouldn't possibly tell you how to govern your life, because they are different. Every human being is different. It's not one kind of living, and everybody serves a purpose. And this purpose is according to the contract you sign before coming down here. And of course, even it could be karmic from this life, because we don't have karmas from past lives any longer. Earth cannot stand it, so it's been sort of altered, that now with the help of the universe, only new souls come down here, and souls that been on Earth um, many times before, they would be cleansed of the karma, so they could go back to wherever they came from. That is something very important, again, to understand, because people are sort of building industries on the karma, and we will do that, and we cleanse your ancestors and 7 generations and 9 generations and whatever. And because human beings understand that something is not good enough, they actually enter into anything because they don't know. So I am just telling you that it is not what you should enter into, because it's not going to change your life in any way whatsoever. You might learn few things on the road, but not that important actually, because you want something to change in your life that is not going to, just because you do that. And you might even say, okay, oh, I feel much lighter now because I've been in this course and they removed my ancestors. They've been on my back because of the karma and whatever. Yes, but our thoughts, we are creators, and our thoughts can create the understanding that we are lighter, because we want to understand that we are lighter. But believe me, 2 weeks later, you will arrive back at the same situation where you have been before taking this cleansing course or whatever it was. So it is a waste of time, waste of money, and waste of energy, really, in any way whatsoever. However, the understanding is that life is here. We have contracts, you see. You should take on a course where they tell you what the contracts you signed, how can you get them, because that is something you really need to do in your lifetime, because that is your duty as a soul. It is your privilege also, because you learn through these understandings. Of course, and all that stuff, and figure out that you are an individual who actually should do whatever, not whatever wants to do, but whatever would take to get on the path of understanding life and getting through it the most beautiful way possible. So that's what it is. And of course, yes, I was mentioning that the reproductive system is all about producing physical bodies. Because, I mean, we call our children, oh, my children, and my blood and flesh and God knows. But yes, that's true, because the DNA is inherited. However, the soul is added to it, and it has nothing to do with you whatsoever. So at the end of the road, you cannot really say that your children are better than anybody else's. They are children, and you never know what type of children you are going to end up with. Because the soul has a lot to do with that. So it's a lottery, really, in one way or another. Anyhow, when we are here, of course, when we are children, we want to be grown-ups, because that's what we want. We want to imitate our fathers and mothers, of course, because that's what we do. That's how we learn. That's the instinct. That's the physical body who is talking, and of course wants to imitate everything what is seen. That's why you really need to be very much careful with your children, because you need to tell your children that you are a grown-up and they are children, and they should do this and that and that and this, because you have done them already. So they cannot really sort of start at the grown-up point, It's okay to take your high heel shoes or whatever, but at the end of the road, they need to get familiar with the basic aspects of living, rather than just imitating what you do. But we want to. I mean, girls want to become brides, and of course, again, yeah, Disney is here and the religion that actually pushes girls towards that event, and somehow the girls see that as the happily ever after, of course, and that is something misleading in every way whatsoever, because suddenly we realize that okay, that's not really what I expected it to be, and I don't even know what to fall back on because there is nothing in me that actually helps me through situations like that. So, okay, when we go through that, then we are pushing for separation. And then we are, of course, pushing for children. And then we are pushing for bringing them up because we think that, okay, when the children are flying out of the house, we'll be sort of free. No, because we will be um, long into the family matters rather than pursuing our own uh, uh, issues like aims and goals and whatever. So it is not like that. And of course, everything what we do, I mean, if we have a certain aim, we want to get to the end of it and saying, okay, I've done it. That is done. And I can just tick it because it's done. Yeah. So I can get on the other one. Not realizing that never is the aim what is important, but the road towards it. Because the aim is just an event when, okay, you might have a diploma or a certificate saying that, okay, you've done this and that, and so what? It is just a paper. It has nothing to do with you in any way whatsoever. It doesn't say that you learned something or doesn't say that you are a better human being in any way. So, so what? And of course, the point is really that the road forces us to go through understandings, searches, researches, and and finding interrelations. You know that what life is really all about in every way possible, and that is something we just sort of tick out, saying, "Okay, I've done it. Let's have the next one." And we might go through many goals like that, but while we are doing that, we actually forget about living. And by the end of the road, we have nothing whatsoever to show. I mean, I know people like to show their children. Oh, I have my children. I have if if I meet somebody I haven't seen for let's say 20 years, yeah, I usually do. Um, how are you? What is going on in your life? The first thing they would tell me, I have X amount of children, what they do, what they achieve, they are girls, boys, whatever they are, and um, I have grandchildren and I have dogs and cats, but that has nothing to do with the human being whatsoever. I am not interested in that. It is not an achievement. So, of course, when you have children, you just have to take care of them. That's a responsibility. And that's it. But it's axiomatic. It's not because you are an extraordinary person and you do that. Yeah, you took it on board. You have to do it. That's it. And of course, we forget about living in the meantime. And of course, during our lifetimes, we always look at the past. Every country on earth is, of course, everybody is sort of changing the history according to their own understanding and wants to sort of make the past glorious as such, and the present also, but the past definitely. None of it is reality, you know. I mean, especially we're looking at wars and combats. I mean, come on, guys. There should be no event in a life that justifies, and there is no event on life that justifies you glorifying events when millions of people died just because you think that they didn't carry the same understanding you did. But at the end of the road, you never really do know the understanding what these people did. You just say, okay, but they didn't do what I do, and what I do is the best. Why is it the best? Why do you think that people deserve that? Why do you think even leaders deserve that? I mean, it is the country's idea. It is up to the country what they do with their leaders and who is an elected leader. And nobody should get into that in any way whatsoever. So glorifying the past is really, really bad. And my father was this and my mother was that. Yeah, but you are not. So you have to rely upon your own achievements, but the greatest achievement is you. When you start talking to a person, your achievements come through because your achievement is the understanding. That is your only achievement. The rest doesn't matter really. So we don't know that, but we want to, and somehow during all that time, we are looking for harmony. And of course, when we want to find a partner, we say, okay, we want to settle down. Oh, it is a really, 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 really disturbing expression. Because what you mean you settle down? Then you don't live any longer. And you never lived before because you were always looking towards the time when you can settle down. So it is really, really bad. So whenever it comes to us and whenever the light gets into our mind and we understand that we are missing out on something, then we start wanting a lot of things from life. And of course, we always want what we don't have without appreciating what we have. Because, yeah, we have that. But what about this and that and that and this? Why don't we have that? We always want what we don't have. And because we think we are missing out on something. So that is another idea what makes our life sort of I wouldn't say depressed, but sort of disturbed in every way possible. Because I mean, so many things in life you haven't had. And so many things you will never have. And so many things are sort of the privilege of so local people. If we talk about living in Africa, let's say. Yes, I always wanted to live in Africa. So what I've done, I visited Africa and went through countries and looked at them and learned everything possible and everything what I can take on with me to live my life wherever I am. Yes, at the end of the road, I could have stayed, I am sure, but then I would have missed out a lot of things, on a lot of things what I have already had before. But obviously, then I should have given it up. Obviously, I wouldn't be here talking to you, or most probably if I settled down in Africa, because my life would be very different from that. And we want to do our work the way we can. And since I signed quite a few contracts in the universe, I figure that my best way of handling all that is to live on the northern hemisphere somehow. I am not saying it's the best to live in Europe, where I live now, or I am not saying it would be better in the United States or in Canada or whatever. I mean, there are places I wouldn't really like to live, but that's me, mostly because my understanding of life differs from that. And not because I don't know what their understanding of life is, because I've been there. I mean, I visited all those countries many times, not just once and one place, but many of them. The idea is really that we need to look at the present and enjoy the present and don't worry about not not doing anything. Because well, I am always in a hurry, not in a hurry, but I'm always doing something, you know. But when I see and when I feel that okay, now it's enough, then I sit down, I go somewhere else. Now I am in Mexico. That's why I am in Mexico. I worked very hard at the last 3 months or so, and I am doing nothing at the moment. Okay, I do occasional this and that, but at the end of the road, I don't really bother because that is beautiful. Listening to the birds, beautiful clear air, you know, 25 Celsius, very good weather, you know, and that's it. And I just want to take it in to actually uh, recharge myself. So when I get back to the place I uh, generally live and start pursuing my events and getting on with my work, then I would be ready for new challenges. So the idea is really don't get confused by this and that. Take life, take the present and look at the present, enjoy the present. And don't say, okay, oh, it's winter, oh, it would be nice to have a summer, yes. But when we are in the summer, you would say, oh, Christmas is around the corner. Oh, so nice, the Christmas tree. Oh, come on. I mean, if you look at life, it is very sad, but how many? Most you have 80 Christmases in your life. I mean, it's not a lot if you think about it. Why are you looking forward to it so much? And why don't you actually take advantage of the time between events? And why don't you make your life holiday event every day? And holiday event doesn't mean that you have everything you wanted and you spend a lot of money and whatever, but it really means that you can just sit down, prepare some good food for yourself. It doesn't need to be expensive in any way. And then, you know, sort of wander into the whole lot and you just sort of look at life as the greatest um, creation of all, and yeah, be the part of it. Take the good energies out of it. And then it would be a much better place for you to live in. What I am actually saying is that we need to take it on board that our time is limited on earth. We need to. That's something. And take it as a visit. And then the soul goes back doing something here and there and whatever it is. But make your life memorable for others and for yourself. Many friends are leaving us, of course. Many people are leaving us, especially nowadays. But I know very much that some of them I remember saying, wow, I don't miss anybody ever because I know it is a natural way of living. But I would say, wow, yeah, it was very good to be with her or him. And I learned this and that from him, and yeah, I would never say, oh, it would be nice to be with him, her again. That I am privileged to had so much, and that's it. Not many people did. So I think it is extraordinary. And some people, I would say, oh yeah, okay, because they didn't leave um, an expression on me whatsoever. So I would say, yeah, sure, that's life. Some I would say, oh dear, he drove me crazy. Because there are certain people, of course. Then I would laugh. I wouldn't get very angry because I know if somebody drives me crazy, it is a mirror for me that something is not good uh, in my viewpoint or in my handling situations. So I should learn something from it. Well, patient, I learned a lot, so I am not an impatient person. I've never been actually, but not an impatient person as such. But it is always something, because some people like to trigger you. That's what they do. Doesn't matter if you are good with them or bad with them or whatever. They just want to sort of get into you and everybody else, of course. So what I am saying is enjoy life, guys. Just take it on board. Love it. Don't look at the miserable side. Of course, I am not saying what usually people say, be optimistic. You cannot be optimistic. Optimistic is not a good word. Well, in one way it is, it can be a good word, yeah. But what I am thinking about is positive. Be positive. Positive is not a good word. You cannot say that the sun is shining when it is raining, yeah? Why? You say it's raining, it's wet. But what is beautiful in rain and wet? Yeah. So you change your approach towards it very nicely, and just learn, just be conscious of every moment, and don't take the bullshit on board, and fight for your life, and fight for your rights, and fight for your understanding, and fight for your freedom. And when I say freedom, definitely I mean the freedom of thought, because that's the only freedom earthlings have. But unfortunately, nowadays, many of us are giving it up. That is something you should never, ever do. Well, guys, I hope I said few words to you would make some sense, and uh, find it useful. Um, I wish you well. I wish you a very nice day, and we'll see you next week. Take good care. Bye.